to expire December 31st, 2012, subject to all regulatory department requirements.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Prisco, seconded by Mr. O'Leary. Discussion?
They have open today, even.
No, the sign says the 15th.
Well, the golf,
They got a sign right out
I
on
talked with the chairman, and he said
They
they're
opened
even
today
earlier.
for the driving range.
Driving range is open.
So maybe the snack's open too.
Oh, the snacks.
Snacks will be open by tomorrow. Get your snacks.
Okay, on the motion, further discussion, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Damn mic. Next is,
Transient, I'm sorry, for Robert Connors.
is the Thompson Club not in there, or?
Thompson Club was an addition that's with my report tonight.
Oh, okay,
It's the last motion.
that's the last one, okay.
Okay, I have it as the next one, but you want me to
That's
make
fine.
that?
No, no.
That's fine, if you got it, that's
okay.
fine.
Mr. Chairman, I move to renew the transient vendor license for the sale of flowers, Christmas trees, etc. at 226 Main Street for Robert Connors, 58 Wyman Street, Woburn, Mass., to expire December 31st, 2012, subject to all regulatory department requirements.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Prisco, seconded by Mr. O'Leary. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous?
You can give it to me now, I'll pass it.
Mr. Prisco?
Mr. Chairman, I move to renew the seasonal wine and malt beverage club license for the Thompson Club, Inc., doing business as Pro Shop, 2 Mid-Iron Drive, to expire December 31st, 2012, subject to all regulatory department requirements.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Prisco, seconded by Mr. O'Leary. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous?
Greg, just 2 pieces of paper with the Thompson, we sign both of them?
Just alcohol.
Next one is ABCC forms. Mr. Chairman, I move to sign the ABCC 2012 seasonal renewal
What happened to CR
certification.
Dream Dog? Should we wait
Doc-
until the,
Documents were not here.
okay, so we're done with the licenses, okay.
Only the seasonal renewal form.
Yeah.
Which made the motion?
I did.
Go ahead, I'm sorry, Mike. I thought we needed to do that last, that's why. Go ahead.
I already, yep, I did. I read, oh,
Motion
Steve,
by Mr.
second.
Prisco, second by Mr. O'Leary. Discussion on the ABC form. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous?
We have to squeeze a couple names in there, maybe a little tight. This one's the ABCC seasonal estimate. Mr. Chairman, I move to sign the ABCC 2012 seasonal estimate form.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Prisco, second by Mr. O'Leary. Discussion?
Yes. Just, what does this mean?
If you're in a community that is a vacation destination, you're allowed to have more liquor licenses on the basis that you have a temporary change in population. Doesn't apply to us. We have no change in population.
But we still have to vote on it.
We still have to go through it.
One's a regional, one's a renewal, one's an
Yeah.
estimate.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
If I may, out of curiosity, 'cause it's a great question. If we did have a change in population, that would change us, our category? Just because of the change?
You could issue seasonal, because all the liquor licenses are ultimately tied to population. So if you're in a community that has a significant change in population during the summer months or the winter months,
You can
Okay.
have-
you're able to grant seasonal licenses only for that duration to be able to accommodate the public.
Okay,
Motion was read and Steve seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? That went along with... Okay. Running out of spaces, that's it.
That's all I had in my packet.
Why don't we go to the, I'm sorry,
The other document, the other one-day liquor licenses is not ready.
it's not here?
No, not here and not received.
Okay.
So it'll be likely on your agenda next week.
Why don't we go to the, approve the, or you want to wait on that and do the town administrator report?
Whatever
Your
you want.
choice.
Whatever your
We
Approve
preference
the
would be.
Calberg settlement agreement.
Sure, Calberg settlement. Board members, in your packet is the settlement agreement and release of claims on the matter of a lawsuit that was filed, Berg versus Town of North Reading, and Edward Nolan in his capacity as chief of police for the Town of North Reading. Remember, this related to what was called a wage claim violation, where the plaintiff had alleged that he was not properly paid overtime for hours that he had worked. As a result, the matter was referred to mediation, and through that mediation process involving federal courts and the attorney representing the town and Mr. Berg's counsel, it was agreed that there would be a settlement of all claims in the amount of $50,000. It's been presented to you for your approval this evening.
I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to sign the settlement agreement between the town of North Reading and Carl Berg.
Seconded for the purpose of discussion.
Motion by Mr. Prisco, second by Mr. O'Leary. Any discussion? Mr. O'Leary?
I will not be voting in favor of it. And again, while the town did err in their responsibilities, I think there was some culpability on the part of plaintiff, and I think it could have been settled in a much more amiable relationship, and should have been handled differently. It's unfortunate, it's disappointing, and I will not be voting in favor of it. Excuse me, that being said, I believe it's in the town's best interest to sign it, but just to let the rest of you know, I hope there's three of them that are gonna sign it, you know, or that agree to it, but I will not be.
Thank you, Mr. O'Leary. Any other comments, Mr. Delaney?
I don't disagree with Mr. O'Leary's comments concerning his concerns regarding the settlement. Probably in the 4 years I've sat here, this was the most disturbing one that I think came before us, given the nature and circumstances surrounding the suit. But having said that, I think the settlement is in the best interest of the town of North Reading, so I will be voting in favor of the settlement agreement. But Steve's points are very well taken. This was most disturbing of all the suits that have come before us since I've sat here.
Further discussion, Mr. Ewing?
Yes, well, going down the line here, I agree with Steve and I agree with Sean. It is the most disturbing situation that I've experienced. I think that I was involved with the discussions involving this case, and there was no, in this case, there was no department oversight. There was poor management, unfortunately, on the everyday managing of these overtime slips. I honestly think that it goes from there was no top-down or bottom-up responsibility. This went from desk sergeant, lieutenant, chief, TA, board of selectmen, and straight back down. I think systemically, there was no procedure in place for payroll or finance to even catch this error. So there was a disconnection between departments on the issue of these time slips. Consequently, there was no accountability. I I don't recall which year, but I believe that the TA, based on direction from the Board of Selectmen, was directed for this to be stopped. And that was not done, if I remember correctly. And to me, that was a blatant negligence by the person, or the department head who was responsible for that in the police department in that case. There was no, in the Board of Selectmen, there was no follow-up at the time to ensure that these directives to the police department were being followed. So there was a breakdown in communication all over, and I think that there's culpability throughout. It begs the question, you know, what what else don't we know? And there have been concerns of other things that have happened. All right. Yet what concerns me is that we don't feel there's a need to have an independent review of our three most important departments, because we can't see everything. We try. It's a good board. We look at things. We try to discover good things that are going on within the departments, but we have our limitations, unfortunately. And this is why I feel that it's important that we look at our departments, reevaluate them, and use this opportunity to better manage these departments. This was $50,000. $5,000 was paid by MIA, $45,000 plus legal fees to the town, which I understand was only about $500. What this translates to us is that it steals from other departments. This is $50,000, $45,000 could be 1.5 teachers plus 2, possibly 2, 2.5 paras, perhaps 3. Funds for the Council on the Aging, investment in our infrastructure. These are all these. This is what we could have done. That we have a snow blower that's in bad shape, needs to be replaced, or we can strengthen IT support. That $45,000 is lost, unfortunately. It's important that we get a good grip of what our major departments are doing, and it's hard for us to do it alone. So I think this is, from the very beginning, this is what stood out for me, that this could continue on the way it did, and we couldn't stop it until it was way out of control. So I think we have to sign this. It's in the best interest of the town. It's unfortunate that we are here at this point. So, thank you.
So, Mr. Yule, I just want to make sure you are going to vote in favor of this.
I will, yes, I will have to, yes.
Because I won't be voting in favor, and I have voted against it from the beginning on every one of the votes that we've had previously. So I just want to make sure everyone.
Mr. Chair? I'm sorry. In light of that, in light of Steve and Selectman Prisco voting against it, and though I can respect their opinion, but there are times I think that we should vote in a unified way, even though we voiced our concerns as the chair and the vice chair and myself are voting. I think it's fair that we should be unanimous on this decision, even though we are also probably unanimous, because you haven't spoken yet, Bob, assuming that we are all unanimous in our disappointment and our opinion of having to do it. So I really encourage the two of you to vote for it as a unified decision.
Thank you, Jeff. You know, I view this as an unfortunate situation. I think Mr. O'Leary is referring to something a little different than some of us associated with the situation here. I think, again, it's in the best interest of the community to settle this issue, and I will support it, and I'm sure that if there was only 2 voting, that someone else would step up to support it. It's that important.
Yes,
So,
I agree.
You know, with that,